Hello and welcome to Math is Easy Step by Step. So, I like to get into GED test questions. I'm just going to jump right on into it. If f of x, and again, f of x represents function, and remember, f of x, if you've seen some of my videos, is equal to y. So you could just substitute a y for f of x. If f of x equals 2x minus 3, what is the value of f of x when x is negative 5? A, negative 13, B, negative 7, C, positive 7, or D, negative 11. So one thing I'd like to say about the GED exam is that they have less options, A, B, C, D options. With the HiSET exam, you have an E option. Okay, and so you may have a high, gives you a higher chance or probability of guessing the questions correctly, and that might be why more people take the GED math portion exam. So if f of x equals 2x minus 3, what is the value of the function of x? That's again, f of x is y, when x is negative 5. So let's just jump right on into it. Remember, you can stop, pause, rewind these videos. If I'm going too fast, please. And if you have a test question you like to see, or a question or problem you're working on in your classroom, go ahead and send me a DM, and I'd be happy to try to set you up a video as quickly as I possibly can. So when you see f of x and x is equal to a value, you're going to substitute that value of the variable. Remember, a variable is just a letter. It's a symbol. Typically, it's a letter. It's a symbol that represents an unknown value. Usually, you'll see variables as x, y, z, or a, b, c, typically in mathematics. So here's an example I'd like to show you before I get into solving the problem. If x equals 2, and the f of x function equals 3x, then everywhere you see x right here, you're going to substitute whatever x equals. And if x equals 2, I'm going to put a 2 right there where both of these x's are. So this is basically saying the function of 2 equals 3 times 2, right? When you have these values together and there's parentheses or they're really close by, that means to multiply. So if f of x or f of 2 is 6, when x equals 2, right? Why is it 6? Well, because 3 times 2 is 6, right? So the function of 2 you see here, is equal to 3 times 2, which is 6, when x equals 2, which was given at the beginning of the problem. So I'm hoping this is making sense. I just want to go over an example of how to answer this particular type of problem. So when if x equals 1, and this is another example problem, right? I made this up. If x equals 1, f of x equals x minus 3, right? So again, if x equals 1, we can substitute 1 everywhere we see x. Sometimes you'll see f of y, f of z, f of a, f of b, and they'll give you the value in that letter that matches the variable. But in most cases, it's the f of x, function of x. So if x equals 1, everywhere you see x, you're going to substitute a value of 1, right? So I'll put a 1 here, and I'll put a 1 here, which is what I'm showing you here to the right, right? F of 1 equals 1 minus 3. F of 1 equals 1 minus 3. Now I'm going to add a positive 1 plus a negative 3, or 1 minus 3, right? That is a negative 3. That is a negative 3. You can put a plus sign between any two terms. Here would be a 1 and a negative 3. And it will only clarify what you need to do. So 1 plus a negative 3. Hey, you owe me $3. You just paid me $1. How much do you still owe me? Negative 2. You owe me $2, right? So, f of 1 equals x minus 3 is negative 2. Or this function, when x equals 1, is negative 2. Hopefully that's making some sense. And now I'd like to get right into answering the question. So again, I want you to remember, move this over a little bit. Remember, f of x is y, right? So you could substitute a y for this f of x, or you could substitute an f of x, function of x is what that means, for any y. And again, function of x, typically functions, you graph your functions, right? So again, that's why in general terms, you can substitute a y for your f of x. So here, so f of x equals 2x minus 3, you could put a y right here, okay? And when x is negative 5, right, you're going to substitute a negative 5 everywhere you see x. Okay, I don't want to confuse anybody, but if you make this f of x y, you're only going to substitute that negative 5 where you see the x. I'm going to show you here what we're going to do to solve this particular problem. Follow along with me. So I substituted a negative 5 everywhere I saw x, just like my example problems, right? When x is negative 5, you're going to put that negative 5 right where you see those x values. And you're only going to focus on the right side of the equal side to simplify. You're going to follow what's called the order of operations, or PEMDAS, right? Parentheses are first. Well, we have a parentheses, but there's nothing inside that we can do. All right, then exponents come second. Well, we don't have any exponents to simplify on the right side of the equal sign. PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. She had some gas this morning. She was eating beans last night. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's how you remember the order of operations. That's how I remember it anyway. All right, so no exponents, multiply or divide. It's a tie between multiplication and division. And yes, I can multiply here 2 times a negative 5, okay? So I'm going to simplify that. 2 times a negative 5, right, is a negative 10. I'm showing you that here. Don't forget that negative 3. I bring that over. And again, I can put a plus sign between any two terms. It doesn't change the outcomes. It only clarifies what you need to do, right? So 2 times a negative 5 is negative 10. And we're still solving and simplifying on the right side. PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, there's no parentheses here. You do that for every step in math. You want to follow the order of operations. Okay, so no parentheses, no exponents. I'm not going to multiply or divide. Add or subtract, I can do that. So I'm going to add a negative 10 and a negative 3. I owe you $10. I borrowed another $3, so I owe you another 3. I'm going to add those together. How much do I owe you? I owe you 13 bucks. And if this is confusing, please check out my videos on PEMDAS, or order of operations. Also check out the videos I've created on adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing integers. Right here I divided integers. Integers are just positive and negative values. That's all that is, right? So check out my videos. Here, when I simplified, I got a negative 13. Let's go ahead and take a look. Answer is A. Answer is a negative 13 when x is negative 5. All right, if you found these videos helpful, please help me, help others by liking, following, and sharing these videos. Your stars, your gifts, your tips are most greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time. Remember, math is easy. Take it step by step.